Soccer is becoming one of the most important sports in Canada, with more than a million registered players, record-breaking attendance, and with some good international accomplishments, like Canada's participation in the last World Cup. The World Cup, the biggest sports event in the world, is celebrated every 4 years, and being that the last one was on 2022 and we are in 2025, it means that the next World Cup is almost here, and Canada is going to be part of this global stage as they did in 2022. But with the difference that this time the country is set to co-host the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which has increased excitement around the country. So gathering all these facts, it's clear to say that soccer is the fastest growing sport in the country. The most important is to highlight the significant rise in youth participants, as more than 50% of all are under 18 years of age. But if I want to know about these statistics in London, Ontario, well, I must go to a place where everyone goes to play soccer in this city, and I thought of the BMO. One of the most famous places to go to play soccer for youth in London, Ontario is the BMO Optimus Sports Centre. So I talked to this sports center's president about the development of soccer in Canada.
It's Tom Partalas, and I'm the president of the London Optimus Sports Centre.
Are you planning to go to any of the World Cup games next year?
I will, but I just don't have the dates. We'll be going to Toronto for sure.
Do you think that this World Cup that is coming to Canada is going to increase the rates of people that is interested in soccer?
Absolutely. I remember back in 1986 when the World Cup came to North America, United States, and we had to go watch some of the games in Chicago and so on. Our registration numbers for the young kids the year after, it was almost double. So we expect the same thing now after the World Cup in 2026 to see an increase in registrations of young people to play soccer in the London area. After next year, our numbers will be up.
What would you tell to the young people that is going to listen to this to motivate them to play soccer?
Well, they have to really enjoy the game. Soccer is the game of the world. Everybody plays it. Everybody likes it. It's a simple game. You don't have to have heavy equipment. There's good loss of the game, like you're not allowed to kick somebody, punch somebody. You have the red cards, and you have ejections in the games, and then after that you have suspension. So there's a lot of structure in the game, especially now when you talk about the young kids. If they love the game, there's opportunities now for them. Things that weren't around 10 or 20 years ago, not as much.
We have experienced a couple of key events in the history of Canadian soccer, like the first time Canada qualified for the legendary World Cup of Mexico in 1986, where Diego Maradona won his first World Cup and scored both the called, quote, goal of the century and the hand of God. Another important event of Canadian soccer was when in 2007 the Major League Soccer entered the Canadian market. The three Canadian teams that joined the MLS were Toronto FC, Vancouver Whitecaps, and the CF Montreal. This changed everything, as the addition of Canada in this league was going to give more opportunities to young talents that were developing in the land of the maple syrup. These teams created their own soccer camps to scout players from diversity of cities. The most famous case was the Canadian right back Alphonso Davies after he joined the Vancouver Whitecaps in 2016, and he was transferred to Bayern Munich in 2019, where Davies became the best player in the world in his position. And these soccer camps also had to be in London. The ones that shined the most were the Whitecaps London program, the London FC, and the East London Soccer Club. So I had a quick chat with Dave, who is the London FC director, to keep digging into this investigation of the development of soccer in Canada. Dave, when did you start coaching and playing soccer?
I got into coaching right around 2008, 2009, after I was kind of done playing at any higher adult competitive level. I just kind of want to focus more on and give back more onto the coaching side.
What has been your favorite experience in soccer so far?
I think one of the most kind of a current, 2009 girls won the Umbro Cup last year, and it was kind of a memorable event because this team have always been one of my first teams one of my earlier teams I worked with, and they kind of grew along the years, and I always thought they were talented and good enough, and they always never could get over the hump, and that kind of elevated them to springboard to have a great season last year, and last May they won the Emerald Cup, so that was one of the most events. And then the other one was I've been fortunate enough to be connected with some clubs around the world, and I got to sit in a meeting with the AS Roma staff on the women's side last November. So it was a really cool experience meeting the coaches and directors on the professional world, in Rome, and got to watch a match Roma Lazio. So it was a pretty cool experience.
That's really cool. So, as you have been in soccer for a while, have you noticed an increase of people playing soccer in the past time?
I think that the participation has always been high. I think what the difference is now, people are doing it as a first sport. Where soccer's, the participation was high, but it was more of a secondary sport. They would just play just in the summer or spring, playing basketball or hockey in the winter, and then moving on to soccer in the summer. I find now people are doing more year round, where they're building a full year program, and so it's a lot more. The participations is, I think, similar, but now the more commitment level is higher.
What would you say would motivate more Canadians to play soccer?
I think seeing individual success, and what I mean by that is seeing more of our players on the big stage. I think Canada making the World Cup was huge for the next generation. We may not see the fruits of that till maybe 10 years from now. So I think that's a big factor there, is seeing more of our, Alfonso Davies playing in Bayern Munich and Jonathan David playing in Lyon. So these are big names, clubs, and seeing the players go there. And then now we're starting to see the females. Vince plays for, again, AS Roma. Like, so having big name, that gives motivation to the next generation that they're actually legitimacy to make it somewhere. And having now our own domestic professional league helps a lot.
So, going back a little bit to the World Cup, are you planning to go to any World Cup game?
I'd like to. It's just a matter of getting tickets, right? It's going to be difficult. North America is a perfect venue to host the World Cup because you have every nationality you could think of is predominantly in North America. So whenever you see any match, I think it's going to be sold out.
So, soccer is the most important sport in the world, but not in Canada. So, now that we have the World Cup here next year, do you think it's finally going to become the most important sport in Canada?
It will help. It will help. I think it's going to get out of the mainstream. Maybe the casual fans now will start looking at it. That's something I noticed now. There's more soccer fans becoming here in Canada. Where years past, it was just kind of maybe the European or South American descendants or immigrants that kind of followed it. And now you're seeing all levels of people. So I think this will help. It is the biggest event in the world by far. And I think it's going to be contagious where people will just elevate to see the passion and the importance of the sport.
What do you think you're doing to make soccer important in Canada?
I think we're creating a culture in our club. We always try to better ourselves. So we find the best coaches, and that's because they're servicing the players. So if we could service the players to the maximum abilities that we can, and then educating the players and parents that there is opportunities for you. Now, it is a very difficult journey. So there's not tell everybody that, everybody's going to come to our club and make professional. But there is legitimacy. And if you're working, obviously you have to have talent, work hard, getting the proper training, proper education.
Something that we all must agree on is that World Cup of the next year will have an amazing impact on everyone in this country. And part of that impact will be the remain construction of an already existing culture of soccer. A culture that is being built by superstars like Alfonso Davies and Jonathan David, but also people like Tom and Dave here in London, Ontario. Soccer is a monster that is waiting to be unleashed in Canada, and once it happens, nobody's gonna stop it. And if you have never played soccer before, well, you should try. I promise it will be fun. All you need is a ball and the energy to kick it as hard as you can. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Daniel Monroy, and this is Almost 107.